The demand for sustainable shipping is the topic of my conversation today with TJ Roberts. He is Vice President of Enterprise Accounts with Sifted. Hi, TJ.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. So, to what extent are consumers today demanding sustainable shipping?
Yeah, sustainable shipping is brought up on almost every call that I deal with our existing client base. Studies show over 90% of our customers are interested in some sort of a sustainable shipping option, which tells us that companies, individuals, the like, they want a better, more efficient way to ship out their products.
How interesting, because in years past it's always been the question of do shoppers really care? They care more about cost than they do about environmental responsibility, but you see that changing.
I do see that changing. I think that what we've seen the last couple of years, just the sheer amount of shipping and packaging that individuals are getting in their homes. Anyone opens up a box today and ordered a pair of socks and opens up a box the size of an umbrella, thinks something's not right here. There's probably a little bit of waste that's filling up.
I'd like to think there's less of that happening now. Do you think that that companies, that retailers and sellers are being a bit more responsible in terms of fitting the size of the box to what's inside?
I do. I think this is one of the hottest topics that retailers are dealing with in today's market. I think that the customer experience is being built around that sustainable shipping, and they're realizing that more and more customers are willing to accept maybe even in some cases delays or additional costs for sustainable shipping. So retailers are having to adjust.
You say option. In fact, are customers being given the option? They're saying, well, you can have it now, but if you want to be a little bit more environmentally responsible, you wait 2 days, you get it in a different way. Are they given that choice, really? And then opting for the second thing?
Yeah, you see it. You take the largest brand, take Amazon. Amazon offers that. You order multiple items in your cart.
Right.
They give you the option. It can get here quicker or in fewer boxes, and we'll deliver it. It might take an extra day in transit. And we see more and more retailers in today's market adapting that same process in their own boxes.
So we're hearing that customers want something in an hour or a day or a few minutes isn't necessarily the case, in which case that they can avail themselves of that option. That's interesting. What about parcel shippers themselves? How can they reduce their shipping carbon footprint?
I think this is one of the areas that a lot of parcel shippers, especially mid-market size parcel shippers, aren't aware of. They typically think of sustainability as additional costs, when really there are a number of ways. If it's simply by adjusting package sizing and looking at what products, what SKUs they're actually putting in the boxes, they can make some significant adjustments. The other one that is extremely common is businesses are starting to look at their key points of distribution and optimizing those distribution points, which is helping to alleviate or shrink some of that carbon footprint that these packages are going out on.
Mm-hmm. What about the means of delivery physically? I mean, are we looking at maybe more electric vehicles powered by things other than gas that emit less carbon?
Absolutely. I mean, if you've watched any of Tesla or the other big brand automotive companies, they talk a lot about moving to those eco-friendly vehicles, and the supply chain is going to follow that very, very quickly. The other thing with that you see with Tesla is they've already invested heavily in their own semi-trucks, and you see UPS and FedEx have jumped on purchasing a number of those vehicles.
But even though people are starting to have this more environmentally responsible mindset, there's still a cost involved up front, is there not? What are the financial implications of becoming more sustainable, at least in the short term?
Yeah, I think the short term there is an additional cost to improving the carbon footprint. Typically what companies have to look at is they have to look at their getting into the details of what they're shipping out, what kind of boxing are they using, does it make sense to simply one-off orders, or is there some sort of a sharing network that could be optimized so that shippers are able to piggyback potentially off of like shippers that are also sending to the end consumer?
Well, I could see arguments either way, that it's either costs more money because of the effort of the investment, or you save money because of smaller containers and boxes and less packaging and the like. So bottom line, where do we end up? Are we saving money, or are we spending money for the good of the environment?
I think ultimately we will be saving money. I think that companies have the ability to look at their distribution and realize that overall it's not as optimized as it should be. Most companies in today's market especially, are dealing with product in, product out, and that becomes a primary concern. Are we getting enough in to be able to keep up with the orders that are going out? As we start to see that neutralize a little bit, companies are going to realize that when we look at the data, we can be more efficient. We can optimize on how we're shipping, which will allow us to also keep up with the better carbon footprint.
And I guess brand image is a question too. I mean, you can become known as an environmentally responsible seller and shipper, can you not, if you really lean into it?
Absolutely. I just saw the other day on a package that I received from a brand that I'd never tried before, and the whole package was covered with eco-friendly and how they had used the environment, the recyclability of the products, and it changed the way I perceive them as a brand.
Well, thanks so much, TJ, for talking about the demand for sustainable shipping and giving what is a very positive message to the extent that consumers and service providers are really getting more aware of the need for this. I really appreciate that. But I want to take just a moment for you to talk to me a little bit about Sifted. Who are you guys, and where do you fit into this whole picture?
Yeah, Sifted, we're a Kansas City-based company. We're a business intelligence that specializes in the supply chain network. So we focus helping our customers to optimize by pulling in that carrier data, centralizing it, and then using data science and data insights to point out some of those inefficiencies. We talked a little bit about network optimization, optimizing service levels, all of that, what comes into the data that we pull in from the carrier that we then share back to the customer to help them to better utilize their network.
And the name Sifted implies the whole process.
It does, yeah. Sifting down that data, getting down as granular as we can to find those points that are causing costs to go up.
Great. Thanks again for talking to me about sustainable shipping, a little bit about Sifted as well. Thanks, TJ.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Been talking with TJ Roberts of Sifted. Thank you very much for watching.